Test, test. Commissioner Shelton and Commissioner Ebler, can you just test your mics real quick?
Kurt, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not on purpose. On the general.
Welcome, everyone, to the business session of the June 5th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting. Before we get started, are there any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest to disclose?
No.
No.
Great. Seeing none, we'll go on. On the agenda tonight for the business session, we'll start with general public comment. And that will be an opportunity for people to give comments about items that are not on the agenda. Then we have a business item which is project ZMA 24001, which is a public hearing and possible recommendation to the city council on a city-initiated request to implement form-based code along a portion of Fort Union Boulevard corridor. And then the fourth item on the agenda tonight is consent agenda for review and discussion of planning commission minutes.
May I make one clarification?
Yes.
I wanted to, on the general public comment, clarify that is an opportunity to make public comment for items that are not on the business session agenda.
Oh,
So if
thank
you
you.
wanted to make a public comment on an item that was on our work session agenda, which includes the old mill, that would be the appropriate time to do so. So, and just know that moving forward, general public comment is just an opportunity for just that. And it's not for projects that are scheduled under 3, which is business items, because those items will typically have their own public hearing specific to them. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thanks for the clarification. And also for clarification and clear understanding of public comment, it's an opportunity for you to share comments. You will have 3 minutes per comment, and it's not a question, answer, or dialogue session as well. Okay. So we will start with general public comment. And as Samantha noted, that is for anything that is not on the agenda. There will be no further discussion among the Planning Commission tonight about Old Mill. That will be moved to a future work session. But if you do have any public comment outside of the business item of form-based code, we'll go ahead and start with those. And I'm just guessing that that's probably the majority of the comments. So I have cards here, and I will start with the first one, which is Jackie Hibbard. And when you come to the microphone, if you would please state your name, that would be great.
All right. I'm Jackie Hibbard, and I live in the Old Mill Estates, and I've been in the neighborhood since the year 2000. And I grew up in the, going to the haunted Old Mill in the 70s. My parents used to go to dances there. And so to me, providing a legacy to the community would be keeping and preserving the Old Mill. And I know there are ways we can get some public to come up with funding to try to do such that. And it's too bad it went into such disarray for so long. If it was such a historical on the National Historic Registry, I just wish it would have been kept up and taken better care of in order to provide a legacy for the people that have built that. I mean, it goes back a long way. That whole area in here, our neighborhood and the trails, and I know the Walker family they had a big impact in providing those trails. And as you said, it is such a magical place, and it's so peaceful in this big area of people that we have. So it would be really nice if we could keep it lower density in that area, preserve the Old Mill, and in some way and not just tear it down and just take pieces of it, but like really preserve it. And I think, and given to that, with development in that area, we were told a year ago that by the property owner that they were just going to do single-family homes, and townhomes to me are not single-family homes, and certainly not the high density in the condos, which would be 3 to 5 stories tall. So we would just like to preserve the space because there's very few of that left, and we don't want to become like Mill Creek.
Thank you. All right, Cody Hanson.
Hi. So my family, we have lived in Cotton Heights since 1970. We used to go from our house to the mouth of Little Cottonwood with no houses. But I stand up here today as a family member of Henry Lowe. I don't know if you know Henry Lowe. He is an architect. He's the architect of the Tabernacle downtown, and he's also the architect of the old mill. And his architecture is well known all on the East Coast. I know that the family was offered money by the Forest Service to buy the old mill and retrofit it and turn it into office building for the Forest Service, and they turned it down. Like she said, I know we can find the money. I know we can save this historical building in our city. You know, it's a travesty that we're losing all of these historical buildings to new development. I think if we work together, we can come up with a solution for the housing and also the historical building. And I know that family members of the Henry Lowe family are thousands, and we want to work to save this building to help keep the history here in Cotton Heights. So thank you.
Thank you. Bradley Yoder.
Hello, yeah, my name's Brad Yoder. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I am a resident of the Old Mill area as well. We moved here in 2005, so we've been here almost 20 years. My main comment is that I think the density proposal is a bit extreme. Currently, if you look at the area that goes up and down Big Cottonwood Road, they are single-family homes, and they occupy probably 2 to 3, maybe 4 per acre. The road's not big. Hog Wallow creates a tremendous log jam of traffic, if you will, on the weekends and in the evenings and some of those nights. I think the trails are wonderful. I think it's, you know, I'm really happy that there is some interest in developing that area. I think there's a lot of potential for that. It's just the density aspect of it that I think is really a major concern. What they can do with the old mill, if it could be somehow resurrected, that's great. It's going to be cost prohibitive, I think, to deal with something like that because it's been in such, you know, it's a very old structure and it's been in disarray for quite some time. But thank you.
Thank you. Marilyn Fine.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Fine, and I'm a resident of the Old Mill Estates. And this is my first meeting, and bravo! I think you guys are all doing a great job. I think you're spot on. My main concern is the traffic impact, and all of you brought that up. I think that needs to be taken into consideration as far as emergency response and ingress and egress into the areas. I would really like to see having you require an easement from Wasatch Boulevard as a condition to any approval. To me, if you have egress from Wasatch Boulevard, then it eliminates all the concerns along our nice little Cottonwood Canyon Road. So that's my main objective is to hopefully prevent any kind of traffic hazards for the health and safety of our community in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Etzel.
Matt, back up. Okay, I'll start going. I'm Tom Etzel. I live in Old Mill Estates, and I'll be quite direct. I am absolutely against what they're proposing. The density is just off the charts. We are a single-family home area, period. If you look, and I'll just refer to it as the Old Mill Valley coming down Big Cottonwood Road, it is just single-family housing. And when you look at these maps, it looks nice on a flat map because it, you know, oh, well, we can just, it's the buffer and all that kind of stuff. It's a single-family area, period. That's all you see there. That's all it should be. And you know, you're saying you're kind of in love with their plans. I'm not. I don't think many people are. And you know, I don't want to make it too personal with some of these folks, but we sat in a meeting with this group about 2 years ago, and a couple of them are right over here. And we had an agreement that all they were going to do was single-family housing. And this is what they came up with after that. And so I wouldn't trust these folks for anything. And when they come up here and say they want to talk to the community and the residents, I don't believe them for a second, because they talked to us and they said, we will build single-family housing in this area and then do something right around the old mill. We said, great, well, we love it. We'll go with that. And this is what they came back with. So it is just not what the area is. When you look at it on a flat map like this, and you say, oh, well, just across the road is where the gravel pit and all this great development is going to be, and you look on a flat map, it's just right next to each other. But when you look what it really is, it comes down the hill to a very small community of single-family housing. Look at that map. It's all you see, all the flats of all the homes. It's all it is, and that's all it should be. And I just don't see why having basically going from, I think, about 150 homes to adding another 300 in there. It just seems like it's total insanity. And to use your 7 trips per household, I can't even imagine having 2,000 more car trips going up and down that road every single day. It just doesn't make sense. So number one, it's a single family place, and I wish those folks right there would stand by their word and only do what they told us face to face in a meeting a couple of years ago.
Thank you. No, I'm going to just say there's no clapping. Let's show respect to everyone here, please. Next, Shauna Bland.
Shauna Bland. I'm in the HOA in the Old Mill, and my husband and I have lived there for 18 years. My concern too is the density. When they say 35 residents per acre, that seems ridiculous. We were told it would be single homes, and that's what we wanted, and that's what we would still like. And I think there's a need for that in the Cottonwood Heights area and in the whole city of single family homes. We are very concerned about the traffic that what they're proposing would bring. Our colleague, Mike Young, who had to leave, sent us out an email or a text this afternoon stating, you know, we already have 5 existing subdivisions down there that they seem to forget. They never talk about the existing people that are down there. But we have 148 homes that are already down there. So you can see they're proposing to put we're going to have 443 homes if they go through with what is proposed. Very much against that. What happens if there's an earthquake, a fire, a flood, a disaster? How do we all get out? The road won't allow that as it is, and what they're proposing to feed everything onto Big Cottonwood Canyon Road. It would be a disaster. So it's a really big concern. And then too, I'm just kind of, You know, we've watched for 18 years the old mill get worse and worse. And it's always been graffitied. There's always kids going in there. If it's been their stewardship to take care of it and they care so much about it, why haven't they taken care of it? Is my question. Why now all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, all of these no trespassing signs have gone up suddenly? And I think it's because we were going to have this meeting, quite frankly. I don't think they've taken really good care of it, and now it's in the state it's in. And I think it's worth looking at. It's a historical building. We're too quick nowadays to just knock down things and put up apartments and condos and townhomes and whatever, and not, our history. Once it's gone, it's gone. We can't get it back. We're never going to be able to build another old mill, but maybe we can kind of, get the financing and do this and have it stay there. It's a iconic building. So anyway, I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Dave Clark.
Good evening. My name's Dave Clark. I'm the president of the HOA of the Old Mill Estates. And we've had many meetings about this particular development. We've met with the developers. We've met with Think Architecture. And our takeaway, as Tom mentioned, in our meeting 2 years ago, it was all single-family homes. Our meeting in January, I believe it was, we got kind of blindsided with this proposal that they have now. And I think it's ironic that their vision for this is, 1, blending with existing neighborhoods, 2, preserve the legacy, and 3, they want to put the higher density abutting Wasatch Boulevard, which, as was pointed out, there's no way to abut it to Wasatch Boulevard unless, as you mentioned, that we could get the access to it. They also didn't mention that they have 3 exits out of this subdivision. They are the 2 with the red arrows, but there's also one that goes out to the entryway to the Old Mill PUD, one of the 5 neighborhoods on the in our little 2-mile stretch of Big Cottonwood Canyon Road. There's precedent set for preserving historical buildings. I was up at the Capitol building about a month ago, and across the street there's a council hall. And I went over there to look at it, and it was actually a building that used to be on 2nd South and 3rd East, I believe it was, and scheduled for demolition, and the community got involved, and it now sits across from the Capitol. They took it apart brick by brick and moved it up there, and it's a beautiful historic building. We've been in touch with the Henry Grow Association, the family that, as the gentleman mentioned, their descendant was the architect of this this building. He was also the architect of the tabernacle on Temple Square. So there's some very significant historical aspects of this building that we feel should be preserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Stevenson.
Rick Stevenson. I live on Canyon Creek Drive, just across from the old mill property across the stream. Appreciate the chance to talk. The speakers have covered pretty much everything. I appreciate Commissioner Anderson making notations and questions about the density. Yes, we were all told that it would be a single family density, and that's changing now. It's a whole several subdivisions. When they talk about 295 units, that was plus the single family units in addition to the multiple units that they mentioned. So the algorithms, when we talk about traffic, the city's own study said 7 car trips per day per resident. One that I found online that was pretty credible said 9. So whether it's 7, whether it's 9, if the developers come up with something that says 4, who knows what they're going to say. The impact is horrendous there for public safety. As you all know, the historical trail crosses the street at the old mill. People don't stop there now. I've been honked at when I'm in the crosswalk. There's a speed bump and a crosswalk there. Children go there. It's at risk now if the density goes way up. It endangers public health. We're a community there of single family residents, not multiple family residents. The impact on the community. And the lady mentioned as good stewards of the old mill. They've maintained an attractive nuisance. You can go online and see kids that have broken in the videos on YouTube that they've shot. And in them, you can see holes in the floorboards, missing steps. And it was just last week that Doug Shelby was there repairing a fence a little bit and putting up no trespassing signs. So granting people variances, we're not, most of us don't feel like we have a good neighbor there. The ongoing gravel pit operation, the pollution, noise pollution, dust pollution. There was a compost fire all last summer that was burning. You couldn't see from our home to the mailbox. So these are the good caretakers that are going to watch out for our well-being in our neighborhood here. An attractive nuisance, pollution, and as they said, a single unit deal. So I would hope that the Planning Commission of Cottonwood Heights doesn't want their legacy to kind of fall on the shelf with that of Murray and Sandy, because people were promised things. I'm sorry, not Sandy, Sugar House. People in Sugar House were promised that that would go a certain way.
Thank you for your comments.
Drive through
Your
Sugar
time is up.
House.
Thank you. Melody Morgan? Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. Alan Brown?
My name's Alan Brown. Right up front, I moved into the old mill area because it was my history. I actually did things in that old mill. Actually did one of the haunted house people. My brothers and sisters did it. We loved that place. In fact, I specifically moved into this area. I looked into this area to put my house and my family the rest of their life. We moved in right when the city became a city, 2005. Loved the city. We've kept under budget. We do things right. That said, I'm going to read what I say because I want to make sure I say it, because I get very emotional about this, because people forget the World War II and what happened. And we're losing something like that in our city. We don't have anything in this building, in our city, that has an old building like this. Nothing. So let me just read this so I can make sure I say it right. So I moved to this area in Old Mill because of the childhood memories. We moved into the years in 2005. That said, we need to keep the old mill building for historical and ambience of our city. We do not have old buildings within our city, but have rich history in the area. On our trails, we have these signs about all the things, even some black settlers that lived here. Well, you don't see it unless you see that sign. It's gone. There's no more memories of it. I know there is federal funding, there's state funding that can help preserve this building. There is money there available. And I know people in the area would be even willing to help and do things like that. In the United States, we tend to destroy and build up new things. In Egypt, they build over, and now they're trying to find what they built over. That's generations and thousands of years. In Europe, they maintain their structures and they have 1,000-year-old building. The East Coast is our history for the United States. They moved in. West Coast, there's hardly anything that's new. Why get rid of old when you can make it fit in an area? The developer, we need to keep it as a family friendly. As I mentioned, it's a single family area. That's not family friendly. You bring in condos and townhomes, you're talking about tourists and rentals, ski, resort, people that don't live here, don't understand it. The gravel pit, that can be the area. There's nothing there, nothing's been there. It's been exposed. Let that be the place for high density. My daughter lives in Colorado. They have initiatives, they invite development, but it keeps aesthetics of the area and populates they don't populate just to build, but they keep it small and friendly family environments. The trail, it's important to have the trail. Thank you.
Thank you. And Janine Etzel?
Hi, I'm Anjanine Etzel. Hi, Lucy. I've lived in the Old Mill area for 31 years. I have been asked to read a statement from the Henry Grove Family Association on the preservation of the old Cottonwood Mill. The Henry Grove Family Association is a nonprofit corporation that represents the interests of approximately 25,000 living descendants of a pioneer builder and civil engineer, Henry Grove Jr. He's best known as the designer of the historic Salt Lake Tabernacle on Temple Square in Salt Lake City. However, during his lifetime, he oversaw the construction of numerous railroad bridges in Pennsylvania, many structures in Nauvoo, Illinois, and several bridges and other buildings in Utah. Over the years, our organization has endeavored to commemorate the remarkable achievements of our ancestor and to strengthen the family ties among our members. We hold periodic family reunions, and at our 2015 gathering held in the Salt Lake Tabernacle, over 3,000 attended. As part of our reunions, we organize visits to sites built by Henry. Henry remained in Illinois to finish the Nauvoo Temple after Brigham Young led the main body of pioneers to Utah. After Henry arrived in the Salt Lake Valley, he worked on many projects, including the Assembly Hall in Temple Square, historic homes, bridges over the Jordan, Weber, and other rivers, the Sugar Beet Mill and Sugar House, numerous sawmills, and the sturdy granite cottonwood paper mill. Many of these structures are now gone, but the paper mill still stands near the mouth of Cottonwood Canyon. We understand the Planning Commission is considering development plans for the property on which Cottonwood Paper Mill now stands. In connection with that planning, we encourage the Commission to reject any proposal to destroy this historic structure. We believe funding can be obtained to restore the mill and use it not only as a memorial to the pioneers who built it, but also as a community gathering place and public resource. It may also serve as a means of promoting economic development by attracting visitors and new residents to the Cottonwood Heights area. We appreciate the Commission's willingness to consider our comments and look forward to providing periodic updates concerning our efforts to preserve this historic structure. Signed, Michael A. Grove, President, Henry Grove Family Association. I'm not part of that association, but I was asked to read that. Personally, I'm part of the group that was told that a year or two ago to our HOA board that we would be seeing single-family homes in that area. One of our main concerns is, of course, the traffic. We certainly don't want to see something in the realm of a Lahaina situation where a little tiny road and all sorts of people are trying to get out at one time. As well, we understand that the developer, the owner of the property, also owns the property of the gravel pit. That seems like the perfect place to put high-density housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are the cards I have. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment, not about form-based code? That's the agenda item.
The group here. My name is Stephanie Yoder. Also live in the Old Mill Estates. We've been here 19 years. So I see the Old Mill. We're not from Utah. Didn't know anything about Utah really when we got here. We went ahead, but when I can remember, I needed something done with the washer. If I told people, well, I'm in the neighborhood across from the Old Mill, everybody knew. There was a landmark. It's sad to see that landmark go away. Again, John, I get very nervous talking. Anyhow, he loved going down, riding his bike with his two kids down Cottonwood Canyon Road. That won't happen if I have these 300 units, however many thousands of people coming, 2,000 cars going up and down. You won't have that opportunity anymore. And to say that you love what they've proposed, it's preposterous to me that you would talk about riding your bike and approving that proposal. So I just hope Planning Commission will think green, think grass and trees and single family units, and not so much the money, what the revenue is going to be, but think about the community. Any place can go ahead and build buildings, but we have a space that we can keep it green, keep it nice, keep it historical. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin Taylor Granda. I'm a resident here of Cottonwood Heights. I live across the street. And I'm also the Historic Properties Programs Manager for Preservation Utah, which is not the State Historic Preservation Office. We're a nonprofit here in Utah that advocates for historic resources, for preservation, for maintenance. We hold easements on 127 properties here in Utah, which provides kind of rock solid protection, but it is an elective protection. This building, the old mill itself, is on the National Register, which provides zero actual protection for the building. Most people have the misconception that that status actually provides something, but it's really just honorific. It does leave the development open, though, for a huge amount of federal resources and state resources, as well as tax credits, charitable donations, things like that related to the development of the property. Historic preservation can be financially viable. I don't feel like the developers have really looked into the viability of keeping the mill as part of the development. It is very early on to say that it has to go because it's all a matter of will and money and actual creative thinking. This is not creative thinking of that value, that square footage is more valuable. So we're going to ignore the historic resource that's there. Say that we're going to give it lip service, that it is a valuable resource. I have not seen where someone says that we value this resource that is sitting in front of us, but we're going to tear it down and build a memorial to it. That is not how you steward your historic properties. And so I would encourage the city to require that much more study be done for the viability of that building. It's just a matter of will and interest. There are hundreds of projects across the country that take seemingly unsavable buildings and turn them into economically viable office space, community centers, things like that. And this just has not been investigated nearly enough. So I would encourage the developers to also, in their conversations with the state, talk with the state about the economic benefits of historic preservation, the federal tax credits. I don't think they can take advantage of state tax credits, but there are some. We do this kind of we help people with this kind of development all the time downtown. There's no reason it should be different in our city.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
My name's Ronnie O'Callahan. I also live in the Old Mill Estates area, and I've been there since the year 2000. And what I've noticed with the beauty that area has developed over the 20 years I've been there, and or more, 24 years. We used to not have water flow as much as it does, and now with the additional water that comes out and is sent through that area, there's been a lot of birds that have come in. There's a lot of wildlife. There's a lot of flowers and natural growth. And if we start putting larger buildings in there and making it more like a, a California, LA community, we're going to lose all of the nature that has been developing over the last 20 years since that community has started to build. And I just think it would be really sad to not have that available to the people in Cottonwood Heights. We don't have a lot of free space like that in Cottonwood Heights. We know what's been proposed for the gravel pit, and it is going to be high density. And we also have looked at what's been proposed for other areas, and there's not a lot of free space and charm. And we are really in a unique situation to maintain that charm and kind of that European feel of a free space and outdoor living and pedestrian availability to resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and close public comment, and I thank everyone for their time and their comments. It's appreciated. We'll go ahead then and move to the next item on our agenda, which is Project ZMA 24001. I'm going to ask everyone to be considerate that we are still having a meeting going on. So if you could exit quietly, I'd appreciate it.
All right. I'm going to just come up here because it's what we do in this meeting. I'm not actually sure if y'all need me to go through anything additional beyond what was done in the work session, but I'll go ahead and pull the slides up just if we want to come back to any of them. And then I'm just going to kind of see and suss out if anybody would benefit from another presentation on this who wasn't already in the work session. I'll defer to the chair, whatever you want to do.
I think we're okay with
Okay.
skipping it. And
I will just do the thing that I often do for the record, where I state that if anybody would like to go back to the work session and watch the broadcast to see that presentation, that is available on our YouTube channel for the June 5th, 2024 Planning Commission work session. Okay, so I think where I will kind of move us is as a recap of what we're recommending tonight. So staff's again recommending that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to the City Council for the proposed form-based code. I have our findings listed here. Those were also in the staff report. And then I will put the model motions up here if they're helpful for y'all. And I think with that, I'll just grab a seat. And if you have any questions, let me know.
okay, great. Thanks, Samantha. I'll go ahead and open up public comment for this item. Anyone have public comment about form-based code? All right, I'll go ahead and close public comment then. Go ahead and deliberate as a planning commission. Do we have any further comments or questions for staff? Or online either. Don't want to ignore you. Okay. Good. Okay. Then I will go ahead and look to see if we want to go ahead and make a motion.
I move that we forward a recommendation of approval to the City Council for project ZMA-24-001 based on the findings listed in the staff memo and attachments dated June 5th, 2024, and every additional detail that we discussed this evening as well.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Is there any deliberation on the motion? Okay. Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and vote. Commissioner Steinman,
Yes.
Commissioner Chapel,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Ebler,
Aye.
Commissioner Anderson, yes. Okay, we'll close that one. And move on to next item on the agenda, which is consent agenda for the the Planning Commission meeting minutes from March 6th, April 3rd, and May 1st. Is there any feedback? I do.
Yeah, if you want to list your changes, I think I can just maybe note those, or they'll be on the recording. and
I think it's, one of the March 6th meeting, I think, was a transcribe. And so I just noticed one thing.
Okay, great.
Not a big deal, but it was on page 18. It's the last paragraph, about halfway down through the paragraph. I believe it was Mike talking, but it, instead of saying, I think it should say context.
Okay.
Instead of contacts.
Oh, great. Thank you for the change.
I mean, I could see how that could happen with the transcribe stuff.
I'm impressed, Commissioner Anderson. You caught that. That's impressive.
Appreciate that review.
Thanks.
Were there any changes on the other ones?
I didn't see anything.
All right.
Does anyone else have feedback we're good? Okay. Make a motion to, I
Someone
can't
else
make
do
a motion, can I?
I would like to go ahead and make a motion that we accept the minutes with the corrections noted.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Great. Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Shelton. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
We didn't vote.
Oh,
we didn't vote?
we're still in session.
Oh, sorry. Let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, sorry. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
So we have 2 meetings on the schedule for July. It's the beginning of our quarter. I believe the second meeting will be canceled and we'll just hold the first. And I think that'll be fine for like pending agenda items. Obviously, if we need to have a second meeting, we'll make that work, but just stay tuned and I will keep you posted. But thanks for being here. And I do want to wish a happy birthday to Maria.
Oh, happy birthday.